Okay, Chair, just before you get started, we'll introduce you. We're going to lean here. She'll be starting to be the administrator, so she'll be keeping track of your attendance, the minutes, as she builds into this process, and figuring out what we need at this table and that sort of stuff. And then we have Carla, she's communications. That's her picture on the back of this document here. She's our communications coordinator.
Assistant. Assistant.
Huh?
Assistant.
Assistant? Does it say?
Yes, it's a typo.
Doesn't say assistant. Just what done the introduction, Brent. Okay, and we're doing videos now, and it's soon to be streamlined so that when you're here, everybody will track you down. They can see you on their computer or their cell phones. So it's not been streamlined yet, but it will soon be. We have Peter Brown. He's our film director. And then we have Darius at the back, grandchild of Linda. He's going to be recording. And Louis Needham, he just stepped out. Probably went to comb his hair because he's going to be on video too. If anybody needs to comb their hair or look nice, you don't have any more time to do that. So, go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Okay, before we start, I'll ask Norman to say a word there. Talk about us.
It's more of a word. So, yes, again, dead, and again, class, decent class to get dead, we win about the basic way to see.
Start the meeting at 1 o'clock, it says on there.
Whoops.
And, administrative matters, all approvals by motion and charge chief speaks to a motion. Review and approve agenda by motion. Review and approve minutes for February 11th, 2019 by motion. Update crisis team and Robin Alexander, Norman Moore, Vernon Smith. Motivation workshop April 8th, 2019 at 9 a.m. Downstream Chiefs office. I didn't know that Downstream has a Chiefs office. Set dates for jurisdiction workshop, 1 day, maybe from Justice Department. Kissan government, joint dinner December, March 27th, or something, 27th on the Dallas maternity, Anglican Church Hall, Hazelton. Update First Nation Summit, title and jurisdiction, Brian Williams and Gordon Sebastian Communications. Financial review, 2018 administration and budget, next government session, crisis management team, only March 29th. Provincial and federal government, motion put somebody else in there. So we need to approve the agenda. If there's no additions, deletions, Calvin?
One addition. يكتب لساك ولوش هون لبقتم لك تستشقى غاطة أزول ألويت British Columbia needem to the pitch representative PCL is gathered in the summit. Can I come?
Any more additions or deletions?
I'd like to say something about some people are claiming each other's territories. This Colin didn't want to say anything, so I'll have to speak for him. ولو الانسديوخ دكتور اسكيس الانسديوخ woods Scotland High, so I just wanted to say something about that.
I thought that they were going to take me to court on that. We would straighten it out in court. I'd like to see it straightened out. It's been going on for years. I'd like to see it get straightened out. And I'm waiting for Ray and Vernon to take me to court, and I'm hoping they will pretty soon so we can straighten it out once and for all. I got a davok that I have to live by. And you have no right to speak in a Gyeets house. Not at all. You have more right to speak to me. I don't like it, you guys accuse me of stealing land. I'm not. It belongs to the house of Wakala. It doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the house of Wakala.
And we need to approve the agenda. Approved by Marge. Nida. Okay. Seconder. Anita. It's been moved and seconded. Been moved and seconded. Didn't hear no questions, so it's passed by consensus. Review and approve minutes February 11th, 2019.
Mr. Chair, are we gonna, I wanted to ask a question to Willie earlier about, are they working for both Northeast and our area as financial manager, Elaine? Or is he working for the whole organization?
Yeah.
Or is it just for?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. He didn't tell us. He just announced that they were financial. I didn't know how they got hired.
Administrative, not financial.
So it'll be probably in Gordon's report. Yeah. Okay. Is somebody to approve the minutes of February 11th? So they changed you back down there? Okay. I need somebody to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Ray moved that we approve the minutes of February 11th. Ray Jones. Need a seconder?
I'll say.
Seconded by Aleist. It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded. No questions, so it's approved by consensus. Any business arising from the minutes of February 11th? No business arising from February 11th minutes.
Under motion 3, MIRR says 100% of the chiefs must sign before they will transfer funds. Was that covered after I left the meeting? I had to leave early that day.
Gordy,
What was that?
he's asking about Murray says 100% of chiefs must sign before they will transfer funds.
Yeah, we did the motion. Remember you guys passed the motion Gyeets passed the motion, and then we sent it in, expect them to send us the check, and then they said, nope, we need 100% Chiefs to be in support. So it's sort of at a stalemate now.
Was that 100% of the upper schooner and lower? Upper
Yep.
and lower?
Both, every chief has to sign in support is what they want to.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Is that including the chiefs that have not signed up with GPS? Or-
Yeah, they know, like, they know Art didn't get, Lingua didn't sign, didn't support it, so they didn't want to give the money.
Quorum doesn't matter?
No, they just want to have 100% support for the chiefs. So they knew that those chiefs didn't support the motion, so.
I think they applied for that themselves, MIRR, so you could leave them out and then concentrate on this end, the other communities.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
it's,
sure they
Nation rebuilding and then,
no,
no,
this is revenue sharing from Flimro.
oh,
So they offered it to the Gyeets, so we got both Gyeets and the Gyeets groups to pass a motion in majority, and they didn't accept that.
Because at their meeting, I went there twice so far, and last month, I think it's in January, I told them I couldn't sign because of the revenue sharing with Kitchen K2, but they still send it in, so I don't know if they're going to receive it or not.
No.
It's stumbling block for us is K2. But I think it could be revisited.
Yeah, we're talking to them about it.
Okay.
There has to be something in the agreement, you know. You can't have just a few people who say no and then it's no for everybody.
Yeah.
How are you doing with the Gigani?
Good,
Are they all coming on board?
pretty good. About the same as you guys you see on B.
Any more business arising from February 11th?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Kan I hesse en ons kan worden. Je mag de letgadi gaan heden. Kijk, een kwestie van niet zo. Het gewoon daar een kwestie. Kinder te jou. Achter we de centrum je kwestie kinder. Hij dit niet eens worden laten bestellen gewoon. Once and for all, to be. Thank you.
Any more comments
To get back to
on the minutes of good?
what Larry says, there has to be an internal dispute resolution mechanism if this table has to move forward. If you don't have internal dispute resolution or a body that settles these type of things that will keep coming up, it has to be covered. Maybe not at this table, but within the persons involved. It's like what Larry says, when that happens, your road is broken. It's hard to walk on a uneven or road that's zegeldicht, zo near the bed. And one more thing on the MIRR offer for $1.3 million, that's peanuts. Just one cut block will provide that much money. It is really peanuts compared to what they're taking out, especially if it's coming from Finro. And just for my own satisfaction, I was asking then when it was decided that this table should be streamed live. While it is serious business, I would think that maybe even if it is allowed to be videotaped, that we, like, each individual should have their agreement whether it should be on camera or not. It's a difficult thing because I'm new to the process of being a Sumagat, and even that in itself is, I come under scrutiny a lot of times, and decisions that have to be made are heavy. That is why I'm questioning why we have to be videotaped. It's important business, yes, but there has to be an agreement signed by each person at this table that we allow our faces or to be seen out in public. Our business at hand is usually settled within Uwilpilitlikit. These days, social media opens up a lot of scrutiny and a lot of hurt when it comes to our own individual families. So that's what I am asking, why we are being videotaped and streamed into wide open. Are we at this table for a treaty, or is this business being conducted for all or just the people at this table? That's why I'm asking these type of questions. And I do have to let you know why I haven't been at the table for a long time. It's just that I have to work to support myself and my family. It's a lot of. I was basically away for about 6 weeks in between 2 separate jobs, so that's why I haven't been here. And as difficult as it is, I still am not comfortable with anybody taking video of what goes on at this table. It has to be reviewed first before anybody can be put out there. There can be snippets of what we do at this table, but not as a whole. It shouldn't be out there. This is my piece. Thank you.
Maybe Gordy, I'll ask Gordy to refresh our memories in regards to your concerns when it's time for him to make his report. What could be videoed and what cannot be videoed?
Oh, well, that'll be up to you guys. You should put it on the agenda if it's going to be a concern, and then address it. Then I could be prepared for it, because you guys been aware of this now for 3 months, and it's first if there's any concern. But basically, a quick response is that people want to have transparency, and I don't believe that if there's anything serious, you can go in camera, shut the video off, and that sort of stuff. But I'm not sure. I don't want to answer the complaint on the fly because I don't know what to answer, except you guys should put it on the agenda and then deal with it. It's just being recorded, it's not being streamlined. And the whole idea is so your House members will know what you're doing. But they always claim that they don't know what your chiefs are doing. And number two is you guys are the government now. You guys are a government. No two ways about it. So there it is.
Right?
Och vad sägs som vi vet så man att vi went to this live streaming. Men go to the downside garden. The local government, federal and provincial. It's a live stream while we had wanted de algen dit is zo'n live stream. Net die zeggen de genaamd wil het aftel gaan is niet. De loyalden dit de wil our lacht dit nou. De wil lacht het dat de wil ren de jou. De toon went gooi. En het schiet hem signs get the Adler cameras. Geleidelijk national committees van Hoogschwe. Dan zou ik nog zeggen gestracht om ze daar met de nacht een good picture of the meeting. Everybody understand what I said? Good. That governments from way back, the Indian affairs have always had their ears wide open and spies when our people get together, especially in the turn of the 19th century. They're there, they have spies. So it's important that we sign a document saying that we give permission to have our pictures taken or being recorded by camera at our meetings, at any serious meeting for that matter. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if that's going to be a decision of table, then you should get a motion. I suppose you got to put it on the agenda and then have a motion so that we're directed. I believe, and it's subject to you guys, that any direction and decision from the table should come as a motion, and it be discussed, and then we'll be directed properly then. This is just so we don't get confused, so that we don't have direction coming that's not formally approved by the table. Thanks. I think you have time if we set it for the next agenda if you guys wanted to, because it's sort of a surprise. And this year it's just being recorded now, and we can get formalized if that's what you guys do later.
Yeah, I believe it's a good concern. I was looking at the Niska Treaty after they signed, and I was still a chief counselor back then. I go to meetings in Vancouver, Victoria, and after the Niska signed it, there's actually a representative. Health, education, you name it, they're the ones that are speaking on behalf of the Niska. So if the non-natives know which way we're heading to, then they will be prepared for us to do the same thing that they did with our next door neighbor. And I could see that the concern is valid. That's on the table right now, and I think we should put a date to discuss and brainstorm over the concern. What should be recorded, what should be on the website, and what should not be on the website. We need to set a date and discuss it, brainstorm over it. Emma. Okay, well, set a date there and do that. Any more concerns or comments on the February 11th?
I think that video recording stuff should be done on a separate meeting by itself. Once it's done, we're done with it, and we'll say yea or nay to it. But it should be done on its own. Nothing added onto the agenda, strictly for video, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, we'll send a date just to discuss that.
Yeah.
Okay, update crisis management team. Robin, you're first. Cross the air.
You have to excuse me today. Mine is pretty foggy. I'm feeling really sick. I shouldn't even. At least I'm not coughing on everybody. So these meetings are far and in between. Like, I start to forget because But I know what we've done. Yeah, this one here. 1A, Gyeets and Chiefs Society. A review about what happened with Patty Hirsch when he was here, and the DFO was on the side of us. We talked about we talked a lot about a lot of things. We shared about our Ayuk, our laws, again with the logging and our creeks. We shared a lot of things. We told them about our, we all have one thing in common: fish. The Kick Center taught to respect the land, water, fish, and wildlife. And we talked about the garbage that was left in the sites of the sports fishing. railways that have been damaging the fishing holes. And we really expressed ourselves about the Gyeets inheritor, like yep, from birth, we live on the land and passed on knowledge, language, culture. I'm sorry, I just can't think right now today. I know Norman was here too.
He's got the break.
You know,
My head's too foggy, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I bowed out early that day. I had an appointment, but what we discussed is basically what we discussed here. This year there'll be sports, no sports fishing on our territories because of the depletion of our fishing resources. That depletion has a lot to do with commercial fishing and the sports fishing. And the overlogging of our territories, and there's no base for the water. The trees hold the water, so it is completely dry, getting dry. Our rivers are dry, getting dry. Be simple is another thing that keeps our people from getting to their fishing sites. The white people, they put up signs, no trespass. Therefore, you can't get down to the river because they have their farms there, and they just say no, you can't go to our property. So therefore, some of the people can't get to it. Another thing is that the bands, they're situated at different places, and they, for the same reason, some of the people who have fishing spots cannot get to those fishing spots because the bands are in the way. The railroads have caused a lot of damage to some of the fishing sites. And we talked about I had to get out at about that time, and so I think I'll just put it over to the chair.
yeah, we discussed our ayok, our own ayok, how the recreation damages our lahip, our in Sinon. The logging damage, the railroad damage, the highways damage, the list goes on. The recreation, the catch and release, it's not, it's against our ayok. You can't play with fish. To us, that's playing with fish when you do catch and release. I told them that when I was a commercial fisherman, and sometimes I see this big, huge spring. They go towards my net and they just stay there. The catch and release does that to them. They barely moved, they just leaned against the net and I couldn't catch it because it moves away and couldn't gaff it while I'm picking up. So that's the damage of the catch and release. They think the fish is still healthy after they catch and release, and that's not it. It's, they damage it, they can't eat, they lose their strength. The same with logging. There's a lot of culverts in the logging area, and the fish can't get up to the spawning area because of the culverts. They stay at the end. The culvert digs into the ground, and that's where the fish, they don't go up to where they're supposed to spawn. Logging culverts are like that. The highways culverts are the same thing, like the one in our Lahip by Sindela. They still have a big culvert there, and the fish usually used to go up there and can't go up there anymore. They talked about relocating the highway behind the Lichuk there. And I told them, if you guys gonna relocate, do a bridge and take that culvert out. And they haven't relocated yet. So things like that we talked about. We talked about our AO, how we were trained to, when we go out hunting, then we eat and take the fire out and leave it as natural as possible. That's how we address our lahip. It's our food sustenance comes off our lahip. I think we had a pretty good meeting with the officials that came to visit us. And, hopefully they take it into consideration, our grievance, and go from there.
Okay, I'll add on to the report. Included the closure of the recreational fish for 2019. That's closure, and the government is concerned about their permits because they sell the permits, and there's a huge industry on the permits. So if you don't allow the recreational fishermen to go on to your area, they feel that there might be loss of revenue. So you're going to have to think about that and look at 3A on this. I put that in there, and that's I think this fellow is from the Steelhead Society or something. And he was talking to Catherine, and the Gyeets are going to discuss this this letter. Catherine wanted it on the agenda for Wednesday, and you can see what he says on there. It's 3A, 3 circle A. I'll make sure you guys all get that letter. Okay, and on there it says, "Hi Catherine, I decided I'm going to back off as lone wolf helping to create a skeena fishery, partnership, stewardship group, or society. I'm not prepared to shoulder the responsibility that I was creating for myself, and I overestimated my energy level and time to devote to the cause." He was told that if he has a recreational permit, he's not going to be allowed on the big sand part of the river. Until there are organizations and First Nations willing to take on this process with a clear direction, set of goals, and a shared interest over how the Skeena salmon fishery should be managed and regulated, it is too much for one person representing the interests of a particular stakeholder group to take on. So he's saying there that unless you guys are really clear on what you want, and that's what you guys speak to this issue, and that's what you're being recorded now. So we have Carla, the communications coordinator, and then we have you guys on record, video, as to what you're going to say about the ANAT. How important it is to you. So he says, unless that is made clear, it appears that they're going to want to fish. I get the feeling your people may have some doubts about the process, as I have not heard anything from you or your colleagues. I am stepping aside, but will leave the door open if you want an opinion, advice, or help on a particular matter. And that's Jim Culp. I think some of you might know Jim Culp. He was he's an avid fisherman, and feels that he has a right to the fish. And also with the organization, it might be the Steelhead Society or another society that he's with. He's in his 80s now, so he's kind of losing energy. So he's questioning if we know what we're talking about. Is it an act? Can we say no trespassing? Can we say that? Why do we say that? So we appear to be pretty strong so far. So that's, if you guys want to continue with the season, because you're the one that's going to have to answer. So that's what's being put on the table now. And now just to back up just a little bit for you, Simgiget, I'm saying this with respect. We keep our eye on the ball. You're a government here, and we've decided to deal with the fishery months and months ago. Only the fishery. We want to protect our ANAT. No more trespassing unless you guys give permission. So that's the eye. We've got to keep our eye on that ball. For the time being, unless we change the agenda, we haven't added lahip on there. We're only dealing with ANAT. And we're dealing with protecting our fisheries tenure. That's what we're dealing with. And it appears that's what you guys want to do. So now the message has gone out, and you'll see this year. It's all on here. So the message is starting to go out now, so our people know. It says right in there that it's recreational fishing that's closed, not kicksand fishing. Okay, that sort of stuff. But I'll address this document later when we get to communications. So just keep that in mind. I'm hoping we keep our eye on the ball. We're dealing with ANAT. Thanks, Chairman.
Crisis management team.
Robin's hairdo says it all.
Mr. Chair, I'm kind of worried about the Simgigat of Kidwangkach. They're going to allow sport fishing in their lahip. And there's lahip of you guys in between those areas. And I'm really worried about that's going to cause a lot of problems down the line. You know, it's just like the problem I'm having now. This is my last meeting. I'm not coming back to the next one until that deal is straightened out. It has to be straightened out. We can't go on like this and think that we're working together. We're not working together. There's one group after me, and then it has to be settled. And that's going to be the same feeling that you're going to get when you start to fight with the Gitwan Chiefs over fishing. That's what's going to come down. I can see it coming already.
Oi, smigit. Sige mana. Nei rula basta ni tau. Ina di lo am khari set. Am khari sum sei so ni hangi. Skim de bogi recognizes. Allo dialogue nice la hibetos. I mean, the autumn la table tone. Hier jongens. Toen uit de blauwe jeugd. Juk schoppen jeugd en zo'n. Juk verdelen met gewoon de zins. Ze zijn best niet negen. Mee hoger om zeppels. Hoe la ooit la hebes. Hoe la naad. Jeugd. Het blijft naad oortsen. Oortsnoem deed die ganze weer Tony Oors. Ik denk, hoe lauw naschrijf en zorgers en zorgers. En toast. Nee, het is hem. Daar je ziet, Roddy Johnson. We're putting it on. And I put that on the table, and I was looking, when is the table going to open itself for discussion on the matter? Ik zeg niet zo om de gaat door. Of die nog nee, hoe is het door? Zeg ik het zin is. Schiet hem zijn ijs, schiet hem ei en schiet best. Ik dacht, jongens, het zin. Ik dacht, nou, en zit, jongens, ze mag het goed. Nee, s'nachts, jongens, hoe je hem drippen. Je weet, ze mogen een mesje, zo ze goed laten. Ze gaat het zipt. En die ook de aardige, en die aardige, nou, laat je een deulen daar, hoe la wil op. Die laat een deulen zit aan maar. Die laat goed la hiepen. Zeg ik hem, leren ik om de deeltjes. En nee, zeg ik hem, dan probeer je maar met zeepetkracht te bakken. En wat is voor tabletons? En dan gaat eten. Hoe de rol gaat de maag om jongens. En het hoofdstel gereed. En de program dieet, die hebben de mooie Amsterdam, niet een hele zijn. Maar let's wait, see when you guys put on time. I'd like to take a day of recognition for each house group. Maar die is wel bezit, daar heeft iets. En dus moeten we maar uit. Het beleid heeft gewoon de huis, je ziet beleid geweest. Zijn ze die wil laat hier af. Ik jood niet, ga je ook niet geleid. En dus, beleid. En hij is niet geschadigd. Dit zeg ik morgen meer, ze daar meer, maar zo gaan bakken meer, nee. Thank you.
zou nog schil liggen. Zo ik zeg, functionless. Ik heb er heel verschillende dag. Die zag ik. Maar die scientific agreement mee daar. Zo met die hoogschuld en daar. Mocht je met die hoogschuld. Je hebt hem zo daarom stil op en adem. Voor sportvissen. Every year will op. Want ik kocht ze wist een wil dit is zo hoort niet. Ik kocht hem thuis gedaan. Ja, net die wil op. Je kan net om die wil lid komen. Geschikt. Ik zeg nee, ze die. Ik zeg graag hier. Nou, een kilometer. Hoe is het om te hebben? Voor de lelijkheid. Ik vind het niet goed. I think the comments when we do what we're really here for should be discussed, the overlap, the live stream issue. How do we address that? I think those two major points should be on the agenda when we do a regrouping, just to iron out the grievances that I hear tonight. Like keel op een jaar om schiet wil schiet om de tip. Nee, de wheelton. The goes on the chips like wheelton. Net you light. So get you light. We'll believe it when Pascal doet.
Mr. Chairman, if you let me speak again, if this is going to be the governing body, then everything will have to be straightened out before you get it on this table. Now, otherwise it's just going to fall. It's we're not all playing on a level with one another. And that's my opinion of it. If you guys got something to say against it, say it now.
You know, I feel the same way, because at one meeting I was threatened they were going to take me to court, because Ray had a paper saying that it was his territory. I said, we'll take you to court, they said to me. And I've been waiting. I've been waiting patiently to see when that's going to happen. It's got to be fixed once and for all, you know. You're going to have to bring out their Adawak. And he mentioned Nisnaut. The Western Nisnaut said, we don't have land up in the Kittigukla Valley. He said, ours is Paited Ach. When he went to Heaps to Schom Lachagan, Nisnaut. Yet, I guess it helps Henry. Mom and I listened to it in Vancouver while she was still alive. And he said they don't have land in the Kittigukla Valley. It's Paited Ach. I don't know wherever that is, but they should know that's their territory. But I agree, this is my last meeting till Ray and Vern take me to court or they do something. It's got to be answered once and for all. This should have been done while the big heavy chiefs were still alive. This should have been done then. They think we don't know anything. We were taught to defend what we own, you know. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just a caretaker. It's not mine. I'm just a caretaker. If I go, somebody's going to be in my wearing my blanket and gonna be doing the same job.
Guess that'll be, everything will be addressed in a special meeting, I guess. And, see where we stand, way ahead. Governance, sounds like we're gonna change our hill. I don't know, we'll find out when the time comes, I guess.
Is that the government's capable of standing on or a yoke?
It's supposed to, that's what I thought, or a yoke, will go by it on this table.
Yeah, but that's why it's got to be dealt with.
Oh, no, I can't speak on your behalf.
I know that.
It's up to you and your, and the what.
There's a lot of things that have fallen on the wayside. Look at the youth overlap. None of the chiefs from the youth ever went to speak on their behalf. All of these things were done. All these things should have to be straightened out. Trespass ordinance number 6 Gyeets. All these things are all would have to be all straightened out and done right.
Some get figured about now. Sting, mistakes. Some gas sting. Toch was een dag. Die laai lag het uit. Is dit weer was zei ik. Dat was deze zo. Ik dacht toch, dat je gedaan wil zou pak dat het zo gaat. Gewoon door. Dit een gas. Is een gas. Helt dat je wil de post met zou pak. Dat het zo gaat. Maar niet de pun. Niet het dag de pun. Die gaat goed. Daar zou pak gaat. Niet hem negam. Not today, but you know, it's going to come. De bloed het gehoord gaat, dus laat zo wat dit down op zijn bak dit. De bloed het gehoord dit. Je mag wild, naar hem wild, op schieten moest af. Helt gaat het laag en ijs. Ja, het wil nog gewoon dat gaat doen. In die heeft te liggen. Hij limpt hem zeggen nee. Hij slaat wat hij er was. Wil daar gewoon. Ik wil nak die wij zo'n nee. Zegt. Helt geluid. Ik wil de bunch uit hem niet gaan. We wil net die op te liggen. Op zijn mes. Zo'n het helt een laag wild. La wist a dag. Je dit nee toen. dat la sabak skat niet wil toch la geeft dit niet wil toch la geeft dit inadem dit niet genees ayo nedem die alge aan de zon nee die skistig gaden voor zon ja wij doen we net nee die skistig geven voor zon nee die skidem die alge ja maar die tussen de hani zo met de aksen de aksen Again, just in the sketch, the sound, the wish, all the action at the sound. Go between it a will turn. There must house, as a house, no, the honey talk turn. The must need some bottom. Them how when to meet up the action names. I got it at the dark in hand.
Ik ga nog schieten liggen. Should set a date for what the governance is all about, eh? What we can do, what we can't do.
April 8th, we got a date. We're gonna have a motivation workshop. And we will talk about the governance, what you're gonna do. We got this guy coming in at 9 o'clock on April 8th, that's a Monday, for your group. And don't forget that date, huh?
What time is that?
9 o'clock.
Oh, 9. Okay. Morning.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock and it's motivational. He'll speak, go ahead.
There's the one day, April 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a prior commitment, so I can't, I'll just, state that I won't be there, April 8th.
Gyeets is having theirs on April 9th. So what's going to be talked about is fear, like how we're afraid to do something to offend our Amshiwa friends and our own friends that are recreational fish. And we'll deal with mistrust, how we mistrust each other, and try to deal with things reasonably. Where you deal with an issue that we will stand behind. Are we going to stand behind protecting the Annette? When you look at that letter on 3A, Jim Culp, he knows us. He knows we like to disagree with each other and disrupt each other and split apart. He knows that. So he doesn't think we're going to get our game plan in order. So the idea on April 8th is to keep your eye on the ball. That's to protect the Annette. We will get, there are many, many other things that we'll get to on a list. So we can all stand with each other and get the Annette protected. We'll get the government to recognize that and pass legislation. And look at it, Simgiget. The railroad that's going by. Look at the fee simple that affects the Annette. All the farms and private land. And the railroad that destroyed fishing sites. Just look at it. if we can stick together here and put aside some things that are serious things and set a time to deal with it as gentlemen, as Simbiget, as Samagat. We start falling apart now. When we got their ear, we got them. They're sending a representative from the Department of Fisheries now, and then the representative from the province. They're coming on the 29th. So on April 8th, I can't already know my part on this table is getting smaller and smaller. You guys, it's in your hands. So the motivational workshop will address the governance. That'll be on for 1 hour, right at 9 o'clock. And then the guy takes over. He's just going to say, don't be afraid. Trust one another. And we'll win.
Wie vandaag zijn reis is April 8th. We go down to Benong's Tom Watson, which is 9 o'clock, 10. Set dates for jurisdiction workshop.
Okay, I'll deal with that on the update on the First Nations Summit. I'll put them together. So we'll go to the joint dinner now. The joint dinner is set for the 27th at 5 o'clock. Don't forget that. Bring your spouse.
This month?
March 27th.
Where?
At the Anglican Church. It's right on your agenda.
Joint dinner. You add up the dinner.
Yeah, Crusades.
Oh.
27.
Wednesday.
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 Okay, I'll get there.
So that's going to be historic. You're all going to have dinner together. The two most powerful groups in northern BC are going to have dinner together. The MC is going to be Andy Kwok. I think he's got a lady on this table here.
I think.
So he's going to be the MC, and there's going to be some song, and just to get together, have dinner together, mingle and talk a little bit, without too much business. Okay, so that's on the 27th. 5 o'clock. It's right on your agenda there. Nobody's going to phone you guys anymore now. You guys are good out of government, so you got to keep track of these dates. We're going to have Elaine there. She's going to be controlling a lot of stuff.
She's gonna phone us.
So you guys got to help her. Because she's got 40 people to deal with. She'll phone Rob and make sure he fixes his hair for the next. Okay, so that's set, and I'll put the jurisdiction together, the title and the jurisdiction workshop. And that's if you guys really, if you're not going to step away from an act and stick together, then we're getting into that. You see the First Nations Summit, title and jurisdiction. We have until June to put a policy together on jurisdiction for Canada. So we're putting in an act. We're saying that the Gyeets fisheries tenure is the enact, that you have jurisdiction on those fishing sites. And we want to get legislation for that. So when we're in Vancouver talking to Canada and BC are both there. And the report of what we've got so far, you'll see it on 4. So make sure you read it, just so you'll know what's going on when we report on it, okay? So the whole idea is our jurisdiction on the enact. And we're trying to get legislation. And we're telling Canada and BC that the Gyeets are strong, we're standing together on this. And they're kind of believing us because they know us. They know that our bands are in third-party management and co-management. So we tell them that this is the Simgiget. So we've convinced them now to listen about the Simgiget and the enact. They're at least listening to us, but you can still see it in their how they're putting it down, and they're just not really coming across. And there's Glenn's there, Glenn Williams, and also Kiosk, Harry Daniels. He's also there. And we've been meeting now with Canada and BC since the fall. So it's really, really serious, Simgiget. We really need you to stick together. And they know us that it's really easy. You could phone Gordon up and say, oh, don't trust that other fellow, he's doing this and he's doing that. The government is always telling us things and we believe it. We have to trust each other, Simgiget. And I'll give you an example why they don't have faith in our hereditary system. In the court case, we all agreed we're going into court. We set that map. We all agreed. And then Neil Sterrett was given his evidence based on what everybody agreed. And I don't know what happened when you read the evidence. There's a discrepancy between whether Spock had lahit or Spock didn't have lahit. That was in evidence. And then the judge focused right on that. Said that the Gyeets don't know their own system. I can't have, the judge says he couldn't have faith in it because there's the discrepancy as to whether or not Spock had land, and then also how did Nicodane fit in, and how did Gedem Gildo fit in. There was all those discrepancies, so we have to be really careful. And we send letters to the government, and we're always saying this about the other chief and this and that. And that's where we hurt ourselves. And that came out in that court case. Oh, it's lots of fun to write a letter and sign it. But we shoot ourselves in the foot every time. So this was what happened in the court case in 1985 to 88. And that's one of the reasons why the judge sent us back to retrial. So we really have to tighten up, Simgiget. We really have to tighten up because this is our opportunity that you have. You have to stick together. That's a Samogat. That's what I understand a Samogat is. So on jurisdiction, we're working at that, so we'll be setting a date for that. And we're gonna be talking about it again on the 29th on the crisis management team. We're really gonna push jurisdiction on the 29th. When the Department of Fisheries is there and the province is gonna be there. So we have to be careful. Things, it would be really nice if we can all agree not to dispute ourselves with the government in the letters and things like that. Because we gotta win this. Once we get our jurisdiction and legislation, then we can open it up again with each other and say, well, I'm going to straighten this out now, and I'm going to straighten that out now. We have this chance right now. We've got Canada listening and the province listening in Vancouver. And then here at our table here on the 29th, we got Canada listening and the province listening. So we have this huge opportunity that only you guys are going to win. And you're winning. You're winning. So we gotta not lose. So that's it on jurisdiction. So there's 2 times we're talking about it. On the 29th, we're meeting with Canada and BC. And then Brian and I are going back to Vancouver on the first week of April. It's 4 days that we spend. Because the band councils on Vancouver Island, they have no lahip. They have no, there's hardly any crown land that they can get. So the focus is on them because they've been the loudest. So we're really pushing the hereditary system now. So we're trying to get them to look at our enact. So there's 2 dates, 2 big dates, the 29th and then the first week in April that we're going off. And then we'll report back to you, and then we will set a time for our jurisdiction workshop. Okay? Thanks.
Communications.
Oh, geez. That'll be real quick. I'll need a motion. I'll need a motion from you. I hope you guys have looked at this. It's a draft. And it's just a motion so that this will get out. We want to send it out on Friday. I'm going to ask Gyeets for a motion on Wednesday so that they will approve this. This is a draft, so there will be some changes made to it. And if there's anything in there that you guys want to change or you want to add, just let us know. Carla there is in our office, so you guys should all get her phone number or email and make her work. And then we also have Elaine here, she'll be our administrator, so all the dates and times. So we haven't published the dinner on the 27th, it's just you guys are going to be going. Because we have people phoning us all the time and picking on us. But you guys are the boss. So if I can get a motion to approve sending out the first newsletter. We just have the name Gazette on there just to show you what it is. It's not really going to be the name. So the name is probably going to change. And then you'll see the content. It's pretty straightforward. And on the back page is about the management team. Go ahead.
I was thinking that we should give it a Gibson name.
We will be. It will be a Gibson, and we're still like brainstorming about it. So.
Well, I was just going to ask to see if anybody had suggestions at this table. We're all listening to
Sure.
give what a meaning of a journal or a newsletter is in Gibson. That's what I said, yeah. Landam Algif. Landam Algif is a spokesperson. What else did
Yeah.
I say? Gord? What was that other one I was saying?
Something about the message, the message.
Swear words. Something like this.
Can I get the wording from you?
And the message or something. And the message.
But the message means message to everybody.
And the message.
That's what we want to do,
Yeah.
information.
Also, the story.
Well, then I get is focusing on one issue or something. And the message is focusing.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's a better one called the message.
Information.
Well, Caldamalgan is also the megaphone
Yeah.
of the old days.
Also, it's kind of busy on the front, I find. Like there's the logo.
Why don't you use words like, well, fenced? You know, that's what we're talking about here. So
I think that will be a big, huge topic inside the newsletter.
yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it should be on front. Because Guardians means, could mean our inheritance.
That's what it means.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, there's other meanings to it, but that's one of the main things that we are talking about here. Yeah, that is here for our grandchildren and their grandchildren.
Well, in the context of the newsletter, go here and does not work because people will be expecting, you know, they'll be expecting their share of the bounty or inheritance. Yeah. But as Anita said, go here is a big topic that can be explained more fully in the newsletter. It's the context that you have it as the name of the newsletter. It does not jive.
I think it does, because we are here, you know, even if the people say, well, where's our share? The first thing we're doing here is we're fighting for their share right now. We're fighting for their share of their Guelfians on the river, which will be saved for the future generations. But that's it, you know, it's up to, I'll leave it up to you guys. You guys have 2 words. If that's what you want, that's fine. And, you know, as long as you get your point across. And I was just thinking of something a little bit more meaningful, rather than translating, you know, Gazette. That's a white man's word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, Norman. This goes against how we normally do things. It's a newsletter. We don't normally do that, and we don't normally teach on paper. And Guelfians is more like what we do. That's everything. It's everything. It's passing down what we know. It's our knowledge. Yeah, this is non-traditional. So I was thinking, Guelfians is such a sacred, huge word in our culture that it's just everything. Whereas this is a paper.
Well, it's not the paper, it's what's in it, it's what goes on around this table. That's what 1210 is.
Well, we've got two words. Coherence and fundamental. In the methods.
And the method connotates the Bible, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So
And
we
the
should
message.
use the methods.
And the methods.
And the methods connotates the Bible. So there's,
And the methods.
I'm a method. Well, the first one you said, well, Bill is a methods, what is it? Call the methods, call the methods.
And then the
So
other,
I think we should vote. Color methods.
And what was the meaning of that one?
it's to tell, to spread the word and it's, yeah, it's
Sounds like, not the word. Color methods. Actually, there you go.
So let's have a vote.
Okay, we need to vote.
You need to vote? Okay.
One is coherence, one is color methods.
What's the first one, Chair?
well, yes.
What's the end?
How do you spell what?
UWAL.
I don't know, it's close enough. And then what's the other one, Gallium?
MEHLMASXYZ. Just kidding.
You got nothing? 16.
I think, you know, that word is not spelled right.
This one?
Yes. Well, yes, racist.
What the meanings behind it?
Okay, here's your ballot.
One or two?
You pick one or two. Don't sign your name on there. Go.
There's two there.
Is there?
Yep.
Where?
You gotta make sure there.
Why do they have two votes? Good eye.
Boy, she's got a good eye.
I have two votes. I think number two.
No,
I need
what's
two more.
number one?
Eh?
What is number one meaning?
Need one more.
Oh, I gave one to her. Oh, okay. I shared mine too.
Okay, just put one or two and then I'll come gather.
Coherence. That means
Your inheritance.
inheritance.
Oh.
I think number two is more.
Speaker.
Where you tell what's happening.
You're done?
Yes.
Just a number.
This is the numbers we want to.
Service.
And no video in the fights.
That's the heat, the man that returned.
No update.
No update. Administration and budget, no update.
Yeah, we got a temporary worker by contract. And then the idea is that once we get guaranteed, when we're in Vancouver meeting with Canada and BC, they indicated that they're starting this process again, that they're meeting in Ottawa. So it looks like we might continue with the funding. So we're in good shape. That's the update on finance.
Okay, one more, elder, sent one elder to elders gathering. BC elders gathering, BC.
In Vancouver.
In Vancouver, wherever the BC elders gathering is this year.
In July,
We will know more kitchen Caleb. Ik hoor me verwarring. Het is echt de montages de Brick Taylors. Cannery, fish cannery on Act Babine. En die omjolen op niet goed geleid. Jim Patterson Stokes. Maar ik eerst koos. Ik heb nog nieuw en ik heb niet honderd. Zal hem rennen naar Babine. Ik dacht ook 6 van Rupert. Hij zag hem toen ze bij Wilson. Toen werd het geschiet gestraafd. Ik heb beneden om de pits liggen na, ik was goed in een raam. En toen een Gyeets. Toen stam van zonraad, BC Elders Gathering. Toen ik achter de bus, bij goed in de gegeven. Toen ik los heb gezonden, toen de geschiet gestraafd. Toen de Act Henry Road, bij Wien. Dus kunnen we niet rijden.
It's one of the main spawning grounds.
we're talking about that meeting around the terrace.
Hey, July soon. July, yeah?
Oh,
July. Down in Vancouver.
Vancouver this year. Yeah, we need to send a strong voice.
You guys can send me to Winnipeg. That's where the National Elders Gathering is, and I'll speak on it, on the National Elders Gathering, if you guys send me that.
It's the dark table down in front, it's not from down. Yeah. Read, no further questions, Your Honor.
I worked down the coast for about 20 years, and there are a lot of times they bring, big trucks loaded with fish from Babine, and a lot of them are small, undersized. They should have been left right there to spawn. That's one of our major spawning grounds. And if we allow the canneries to go in there, they're gonna devastate everything into that. No fish down the coast, where a lot of you guys are making your money working on fish.
Yeah, I've seen that too, it's small little fish. You can cast here.
They have guys working there, at that little fence, counting how many fish goes in there, and they're gonna scoop it up after the count.
So we got time to come up with the name, eh?
Yeah.
There's lots of time, but July.
Okay. What we? Okay,
We
you're
send
on.
to that others gathering.
Name's
How
on.
many others
Oh, I
are on
see.
this table?
We'll have to wait till the new budget for that.
Yeah.
We didn't budget.
Okay.
All we budgeted for was just this process and staffing, communications, and dealing with the fish. You guys are the government. You need a motion for this.
Oh, yeah, we need a motion to set this up.
Yeah, you approve and send it out.
With the change.
With change of name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got the name?
I have the name.
Good.
What name are you putting on there?
The one you voted for?
Votum Signori.
The
Number
one you voted for.
Number 2.
On the method.
That's
Nu
what
het
it
woord
is.
op de middag, toch
When will this go out?
Friday.
This Friday?
This has already been, there's a few changes that have been made in this already, so if you guys have any changes you want, just let Carlos know.
Okay, I'll just let you know.
Yeah. Your picture has to be certain size, Lawrence.
Passport issue,
Yeah.
passport size.
So we need a mover and want to take this up.
I'll move it. I glanced through it and all looks good.
We moved with the changes.
With the changes on the front page.
Seconder, Roddy, been moved to second. I think I heard a question, all in favor? Against? Passed.
That's my up again.
Because you would have said again.
Okay,
Next government session.
Okay, 2 dates, don't forget them, April 8th for the workshop, it starts at 9 o'clock here. The door's gonna close at 9:03. And March 27th is dinner, 5 o'clock at the Anglican Church. Okay?
That's it, eh?
April 4th.
Please come up.
What is that, April what? Eight?
It's right on your agenda.
27th March.
No, 29th?
27th.
Oh, 27th, April.
27th of March.
Oh, March.
April 8th is the workshop, and the 27th is the
Tax
dinner.
sentiment.
Dinner,
Yeah.
March.
March.
April 8th.
It's right on your agenda.
We just need the next, meeting date.
I won't be here on the 27th, I have an office appointment in Vancouver.
Oh.
On 27th, I'm going to. That's it on our agenda. Just, Roddy, I think we've addressed that, unless he has something else to say.
Yeah, we're just burning. Next governance meeting.
April 10th? Come on. April 10th.
I'm wondering about it.
I'm going to be late on April 10th.
You always late.
I'm working.
What time, 4?
Hey,
Four.
I'm in Vancouver then, but you guys can go ahead. You guys are in sale, in fact, so no.
that was when.
It'll be a short meeting.
Come in, sign up and get your second vote. Just before Christmas.
Kunnen we get snoring in them, so is it, let them cut it.
Spaat talen. Bij hygiëne gezet.
Dat we lachen gebleven.
Nou, als dat toch nu. Is hem ook iets om te gaan. Is dat moet ik zeggen. Om aan te tegen te blikken naar die Amtsbake als die waal gaat. Dat wil deel toe. Ik doe daar ook heel had me amt with hem. Die niet de stassen. Amen.
Amen.